Can you explain the Catholic Church's view on the theory of evolution? I believe there is a direct link between the theory of evolution and the assault on life. It directly attacks the belief in God, or it seems that the Church is silent on this issue. God bless you. All this is from Kathy. So talking about at least some people's understanding of how evolution is portrayed, which seems to say, well, there really wasn't a God, or if there's a God, he's really not involved, and everything just kind of is a natural process, and that hence it leads us to maybe a demeaning of actually human life.
Yeah. Well, Kathy, first and foremost, the Church has not been silent about evolution at all. In fact, the Church made an official pronouncement called Humani Generis. This is Pope Pius XII, way back in 1951, which permitted Catholics to believe in evolution with one important caveat, that evolutionary theory could not deny that there is a transphysical soul, a unique transphysical soul created by God, given to every human being, making them a unique transphysical, transcendental human being in the image of God. So in other words, what Pope Pius XII was saying is that you cannot reduce human beings to a material, organic, physical being alone. And see, evolution can only cover physical events, right? Organic, biological events. Evolution can't explain the existence of a soul, a transphysical soul. And you might recall that we've talked about near-death experiences and the evidence for a transphysical soul, which is almost overwhelming. 80% of blind people who are blind from birth, see, when they are, clinically dead. And the only way of explaining that is that you have some kind of soul capable of sight and memory and cognition and hearing and so forth after you've left your physical body. But then the Church made another major pronouncement. This is St. John Paul II. He made this in 1960. Now I take that back. In 1989. I hope this is correct. I might be wrong, but anyway, he made a pronouncement to the Pontifical Commission on the Natural Sciences, and that's the very important, committee. And he said there that evolution now was more than a hypothesis. That it was really a theory which was being validated very much by the science of that day. I think it was 1989. I hope I'm right. Might have been a little later than that. But in any case, he makes that pronouncement and then goes on to say that because of that, Catholics can go ahead and believe in evolution as having a powerful, a kind of scientific background to it, with the the same caveat that we do not deny the existence of a unique transphysical soul created by God, giving them the dignity of God's own, dignity of being made in His image. So we cannot deny that. But aside from that, that's been very, very well taught by the Church. So you can believe in evolution. That's not a problem. The Church does not see it denying God, denying the transcendent, or denying your soul, so long as you affirm what there is very good evidence of in Jesus' resurrection, good evidence from in the near-death experiences we previously discussed, that there really does exist a soul. So you're fine there. I really don't think that evolution has led to the problem with pro-life, this culture of death, as St. John Paul II describes it again and again. I think that goes back to the abrogation of 10 other principles, which we can talk about in this program, but I discussed them in a book called 10 Universal Principles, a brief philosophy of the life issues. And in this book, the 10 principles, the more important ones that we might discuss today, which the Catholic Church, by the way, in many respects is responsible for. I mean, you're going to see St. Augustine all over these principles, St. Thomas Aquinas, Bartolomé de las Casas, Francisco Suarez. These were people who were priests who gave rise to the 10 greatest universal principles, which we have enshrined in our Declaration of Independence and in our Constitution. And those 10 universal principles were seriously abrogated by the Roe versus Wade decision. And by the way, they were also abrogated in the same way by the Dred Scott decision, whereby the Supreme Court of the United States unanimously approved enslaving black people under white people with the incredible phrase that black people must submit to enslavement by the superior race. This was a unanimous decision by the Supreme Court. It's the same logic, the same problematic forgetfulness of natural rights, and the same logical errors of construing silence in the Constitution to be a denial of personhood and a denial of citizenship. So we'll discuss that more in the program. That's really what has gone wrong. It's a complete failure of the majority of the Supreme Court, but of course that complete failure had a cultural background, as St. John Paul has identified. It's been a long history since the late 1950s of truly abrogating the principle of non-maleficence, the principle of personhood, the principle of inalienable right.